Hailing frequencies open, and welcome to Star Trek Discoverage, the live podcast that boldly goes into excruciating detail about this week's episode of Star Trek Discovery. I'm your host, Aaron Coker, a.k.a. Caliban, and my money was on Cybok. Joining me on the show, as usual, is my co-host. She's also the co-host of the Generations Geek podcast, a more or less family-friendly celebration of geekdom on the Chronic Rift Network. It's Ella Pearson. Ella, welcome back.
Hi, thank you.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good. Do you feel more whole and complete now that we had a chance to say goodbye to Arium in the right way?
I do. It was a good scene for me. Yeah, I feel better.
Yeah. I always wonder about the procedures because we've seen a couple shipboard funerals in Star Trek, and usually that's something like shooting them out of a torpedo tube or beaming them into space. And I know that we hold to tradition because it's like a Navy, but isn't that kind of like littering a little bit? I can see shooting them onto like an uninhabited planet, but you wouldn't want somebody to run into Ira Graves when he's out there or whatever.
Yeah, and also it always makes me laugh when they get shot out of the torpedo tube.
Really?
Because it's just like...
It is a little bit, yeah, it's a strange tradition.
Right?
All right, well, we can talk more about that in a little bit. Also joining us once again on Discoverage, she's also a former guest on Enterprising Individuals. She's the co-host of the Just Enough Trope podcast, available on iTunes and at justenough.trope.com. It's Mika and Hana. Mika, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Good to have you back. What is going on Just Enough Trope right now?
Well, we're really excited because our 300th episode is coming up. Okay. So it's something to celebrate. And we're going to be talking about news as well as have a review of Jordan Peele's new movie, Us, which we're really excited about.
Us. Yeah. Okay.
Us. Yeah, and a couple of other fun surprises that you'll just have to listen to get.
All right. That's a good tease. Did you like his first film?
I did. We, for whatever reason, didn't go out to see it in the theater and waited until it was available, for, home video or what have you.
Sure.
Home video. I sound so old when I say that, but,
on home video.
But,
8mm, and we put a
exactly,
projector up and, yeah.
Exactly.
But you're not going to miss it this time around, though.
No. We made... wish I had seen Get Out in the theater. It was really, really good. And just kind of floored by how, not that I knew Jordan Peele was talented. I just didn't know he was talented in this way, from his comedy sketch show and everything. So, but, he's a pretty good storyteller, and so I'm really looking forward to being incredibly freaked out by his new film.
I'm really looking forward to Twilight Zone at this point as well. I'm just really I want it already. Come on, let's do this thing. So, but it's coming up soon. I know. Soon, yeah,
it's going to be here before you know it. It's like
we'll be able to talk about it. Ella, are you going to watch the Twilight Zone too?
Oh, definitely.
Maybe we can have a little sidebar coming up. And then, of course, on our very last show of Discoverage, we'll be able to talk about the premiere of Game of Thrones, too. So we can multitask. We can do all kinds of stuff here.
There you go.
Well, just a little Trek news. Thanks for joining us tonight, Mika. Just a little Trek news before we get into tonight's episode. News came out this week that Anson Mount and Rebecca Romaine would not be returning for Season 3 of Discovery. Now, Mount had said at an event in December of last year that he only had a one-season contract, but there was a story recently that broke from Deadline that was pretty much confirmation that we won't be seeing the Enterprise much, if at all, in Season 3. What do you think about that, Mika? Did you get enough Pike and the Enterprise in this one, or are you looking forward to more adventures with them?
I was really disappointed when I got that news. I feel kind of let down a little bit. I don't know exactly what they're doing, if they only want a captain to stay on for a single season and then we have somebody else in there. I guess that's one way of keeping it fresh. But...
I'm not a Potterhead, but I have seen the thing going around that the captaincy of the Discovery is like the defensive dark arts teacher or whatever.
Oh,
did I get that right?
Yeah. I
okay.
like that.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
So now that we've all heard it, no more. You don't have to post that anymore.
Yeah. And I'm kind of bummed that we're not going to see Anson Mount anymore. And like Rebecca Romaine has only been in like one episode.
Yeah.
So I know they were only signed on for one season, but you can extend those contracts, right? I mean,
yeah, I suppose you probably could, but they would have announced by now since they're already in the planning stages for season 3. So, Ella, what do you think? Do you think that we've gotten to see enough of Captain Pike, or do you want some more?
I mean, like, I'm sad because I love Anson Mount's like dad energy on screen.
Yeah.
But I'm not surprised. I know they want to go their own way. They want to, for the most part, kind of stay away from TOS and do their own thing. And so it's like, okay, but like Anson Mount just did such a good job, I think, embodying Pike. I think like a lot, like almost everybody thought that. And so it's going to be sad for him not to be here anymore.
Yeah, I mean, when you think back to the original Pike, an actor like Jeffrey Hunter, who we saw for such a short time, and yet either just by the dint of him being this figure sort of locked in, well, a wheelchair, but just locked in metaphorical ice, or just the stoicness of his portrayal, it was iconic. You just think of him as Captain Pike, and now picking a guy who's going to play the character for 13, 14 hours and then go away. I think that he's lived up to that. Like you guys said, I think that we will remember him, whether or not we see Pike again on screen for another 50 years, as Anson Mount, as this guy that did a really good job portraying that. That's what I think. That's my eulogy for the character of Pike. But we'll talk about eulogies in a second. Let's get on here with the episode. We've seen the 10th episode of Star Trek Discovery, Season 2, The Red Angel, and we're here to break it down for you. And before we start, as always, we're setting a course for the spoiler zone, listeners, so be warned. We're glad you decided to join us, but if you haven't seen the episode, spoilers are incoming. The official synopsis for The Red Angel is, Burnham is stunned when she learns her ties to Section 31 run deeper than she ever fathomed. Armed with the identity of the Red Angel, the USS Discovery goes to work on its most critical mission to date. This episode was written by Anthony Marinville and Chris Silvestri. Marinville is a researcher for Star Trek Discovery. He's also an actor and a production assistant, and his only previous writing credit is an episode of Monk. And his partner in this episode, Chris Silvestri, is a writer's assistant for Discovery and was previously an assistant on the show Hannibal as well, which, of course, was run by Brian Fuller, co-creator of Discovery. This is his first script, his first teleplay. This episode was directed by Hanelle Culpepper, who we talked about on a previous episode of this show. She's a veteran TV director. She'll be directing the first 2 episodes of the Picard series, which, another little bit of news, she confirmed on Twitter that show will not be called Picard, or at least there hasn't been an official announcement. They're just calling it Picard as shorthand. It's sort of a temporary title. Would you be disappointed if it was called Picard, though? Just simply Picard?
Yes.
It seems kind of
Chateau
lame.
Picard, then?
That would be better.
The House of Picard, yeah.
Yes. I kind of like that.
Well, this is the time when we check in with our theories, and I guess it's probably as good a time as any to get started talking about the Red Angel. And we kind of fixed and finalized our theories last week, and it went by so fast.
Roasted.
Yeah. I don't even remember what I said. Who cares? But yes, I don't think any of us had the pick that it turned out to be, which was, of course, the mother of, which I don't, do we even know her name? We know that she's Michael Burnham's mother.
I have no idea.
She's played by the actress.
I don't think we know, no.
Yeah, she's played by the actress Sonia Sohn, who is known for The Wire and a couple other things. Ella, have you seen The Wire?
No, actually.
These millennials. We gotta watch The Wire. We'll get to, I'll airmail the DVDs, I'll airmail them to you. So, yeah, the fact that we don't even know her name frustrates me a little bit, and it's always a bit of dirty pool, and they don't have to play by any rules, but it's always a bit of dirty pool when you make the answer someone that we've never seen. And, like, it could have been, hi, I'm Bob Fredrickson. It's like, who's this guy? Like, it's somebody that we never really knew. I feel like there was a bit of a hint when we started to go in so deep on her parentage when she's talking to Leland and all that. But yeah, that was something of a surprise. What do you guys think about that reveal?
Well, I have a question. Like,
Sure.
if they kept saying that it matched Michael Burnham's like biometrics or whatever, whatever, like it, like exactly. I mean, isn't that like your parents? Like, yes, you have some of your DNA from them, but it's not exact. Like, shouldn't she be like half her mother, half her father?
What a great question that is. Ella, do you want to crack at it, or do you want me to go nuts on it?
Tilly was like, close enough, dude. I don't.
Either Culber is a terrible geneticist, or maybe there is something. I mean, we haven't seen him either. We're fairly certain he has a father, right? So, well, it could be a mitochondrial DNA situation. Maybe it was something because that's passed down, through the mother, or maybe Michael is just a clone of her mother, or
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, or maybe so why did Arium? Okay, this is all conspiracy tonight, folks. So that's what you want. So that's what we're doing. Why did Arium have this genetic scan of Michael? If her parents were building Project Daedalus, maybe they, intended it in some way for her, but at the last second, her mother took it on instead to protect her daughter.
Okay.
It's so, for me, we've had one big question answered, and then a bunch of other questions have been introduced to us. And so I'm assuming those answers will come, hopefully in interesting and satisfying ways. But yeah, I don't know. Short answer, I don't know.
Okay. Short answer, yada, 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 sci-fi.
Yeah,
right.
Right. Yeah, wacky doodle.
Yes.
As Maury Hurley used to say, yeah. But yes, that's who it was. And so what I want to know is, are you going to go my way? And what I really want to know is, will this set up I don't want to say a conflict, because I don't think it has to be a conflict, but do you think that they meant, there's a lot of parentage in this. We've got Sarek, of course. We've got Amanda, a surrogate mother. Are we looking to add to the ranks of parent figures here in this meditation? We got Daddy Pike. Is that
Don't say it.
Is parentage underlined the point of season 2?
Oh, I kind of think you're right about that. I mean, look at
or random Alice in Wonderland quotes. Either way.
Well, I think parentage has really underlined. I mean, look at like Laurel and Ash Tyler have a baby together.
Well, yeah, I guess.
And yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think maybe that's like the underlying
the baby head. Yeah.
The baby head, yeah.
Sorry.
Is that's a major theme for this season?
I guess. Let's. I don't know. I'm feeling kind of pokey tonight, so let's just kind of comb through the episode sort of bit by bit. We open, of course, with a somber scene of a funeral on Discovery for Arium, and I got this feeling like it was very touching, and I'm glad to see that the crew has bonded, especially after their abusive daddy situation with Jason Isaacs, that they've really come together to respect each other. But it's sort of like, I wish that I had, like, even Tasha Yar had only been around for a while, but when everybody came out and said, oh, I like Tasha for this, she was strong, she was this, I feel like I had seen the adventures that made them think that, but this was all sort of reverse engineering it to be like, oh, she was such a great friend, oh, we had tacos all the time. And it's like, yeah, but you guys never, I wish the show showed them interacting more.
Right. Like, actually showed Arium playing games with Tilly and that sort of thing.
Yeah. Or just, I don't know, Bryson Reese playing spring ball in the, holodeck or something like that. Like, I wish we got a little more of that sort of thing. And that really came back over and over again tonight for me, just watching this episode. I know that we got an answer to a big question, but I felt like a lot of the episode was sort of restating things and kind of marking time and trying to come up with the worst plan in the universe, which is try to kill Michael Burnham. So hopefully this thing will show up and we can ghost trap it? Did you guys get a Ghostbusters sort of vibe off of the
Yes.
the Red Angel thing?
Yeah, it was very Ghostbustery.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting. And through it all, it's just, I don't want to jump on two screenwriters who are just starting off their careers, but I just felt like it was a lot of talking and a lot of telling and not a lot of showing and transforming and conflict. And part of it might be just that we have structured the season to maneuver to this point where we need to have this huge sort of late second act reveal, and there's nothing we can do except just spin our wheels and sort of finish off conflicts. But even the first season did this better when they brought everybody back from the mirror universe, and you had Stamets having to sort of confront Tyler. You had Burnham having to confront Tyler. You had Cornwell trying to deal with the fact that she's lost Mirror Lorca and all that, and then we still have to go to Kronos and figure out this war thing. Like it was this little pause before the final battle, and this was just, I don't know. I just felt I was left wanting more. I was left wanting all of it. What did you guys think? And let's say Ella, what'd you think?
There was a lot about this episode that I really, really liked. But I definitely have some problems with it that I think is probably related to, that the people writing it were a little new to television. But I mean, mostly what bothered me is that it's so they think the Red Angel is future Michael. So they're like, okay,
Yeah.
well, we'll kill Michael and then she'll have to come back. But it's
Right.
If it is future Michael, then she knows, number one, she knows how it's going to play out. And also number two, she knows you're not going to actually kill her.
Right. Right.
And they kind of were like, oh, but Spock pulled the gun on them. And it's yeah, but
if I know one thing about Spock, he'll let me die, and we're going to base it all on that. Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, we know that they're having problems, but I think that there is a mutual respect and love there, and so to pit it against that. And that's really all that Spock is here for at all in this episode. After the whole Talos thing, I'm kind of wondering, why did we bring Spock on the show at all? Sure, there's more to come, but he's just kind of there, He's not really doing anything. And
he's there so we can love him.
Yeah, well, yes, of course. But that's kind of all that we're doing at this point. Mika, what'd you think?
I thought it was. I don't know why they came up with the plan that they did exactly, and then it's obviously you're not going to actually kill Michael because if she's there in the future, she wouldn't be able to be there in the future. I mean, it'd be a paradox. So, I don't know. It seemed kind of weird to me, and I wasn't sure why Culver was there. Maybe he was there to monitor her vitals and run in and rescue her if she needed it, except he didn't because Spock didn't let him.
Right.
So, I mean, everybody in that room was kind of ineffectual because Spock pulled a gun on them. So, I don't know. It seemed like they were, setting the table for this big reveal. And, I mean, I'm not saying it wasn't a big reveal. It was, but it felt a little anticlimactic to me.
What do you guys think about characters who are, Disney princesses, for instance, who are completely defined by their lack of parents, or the tragic death of their parents early in their childhood, and then bringing them back? What if Martha Wayne turned up to be alive? How would Batman be different? Would he still work?
I don't know if he'd be as passionate about cleaning up the streets of Gotham if his mom was still alive.
He'd only clean up half the streets.
Right.
Yeah.
I only hate half of you villains.
Yeah, this show has gone through so many changes, behind the scenes, and I'm sure changes in where they want to take it. And so you take something like, Will Riker doesn't get along with his dad, so we can have one episode where they American Gladiator fight, and then the rest of the time we'll know that he's just kind of emotionally reserved because he's protecting himself because he's had this relationship with his dad. And I just always wondered if the whole thing about Michael Burnham's parents would be something we'd ever learn more about, or if it was just a setup that she is somebody that's how she's displaced. We wanted a character who is passionate and logical, half human, half Vulcan, like Spock. And do we do that by just snuffing her parents? And now that they're bringing them in, I don't think it's bad. I don't not like it, but I want to see. It's not something that I've even considered up to this point. And so I'm sure if you go on the internet, you find somebody had Kiemer from The Wire up on the board. I'm sure they're winning big tonight. But I didn't see that. I don't think anybody even thought that because it was just something that had never been thought of. So as for an out of left field twist, great. But as something that we've never even really considered or the show hasn't even explored before, I'm like, okay, all right. Now what? Okay, all right. You sold me on the first act. Where are we going from here?
I mean, they seem like they're going really deep into the Section 31 stuff for we're still waiting on the Section 31 show.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, they're laying the groundwork for that. Yeah, there was a lot of talk tonight where they were making connections sort of in the first act or so. And I was like, is all that true? Like, was I not paying attention in earlier episodes? They're like, okay, so the squids are Control in the future, and they came back, and Section 31 was doing this, and Ariam's got this file, that's the Red Angel thing, and I'm like, is that? Oh, okay. Wow, I guess I needed that scene, because I hadn't put all that stuff together. I still felt more confused about how those things went together. Mika, have you been able to follow, like, the sort of thread so far? Because remember, this all started with Tig Notaro.
Yeah, who has been...
She's known for her physical comedy.
who has been absent, and I miss her. Yeah. I wish they had included her more throughout the season.
Tig is the real Red Angel.
Sure.
I like it.
But we get the scene with everybody, we get our conference room scene and everybody's talking Red Angel this, 31 that, Control that. It was like a human Twitter thread, basically. It was just like a bunch of people all throwing these plot points at each other. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, and I just wonder how Michael is, like, the idea of, like, how are you different if all of a sudden your parent who you thought was dead for, I don't know, maybe around 20, 15 years is not dead anymore.
Yeah.
And like, how does that affect you? Right. Will Michael still be Batman? That's what I want.
You were born on Vulcan. I adopted it. Yeah. Or you adopted me. Yeah. What do you think about the Section 31? I thought this was kind of lame. I guess I don't know where else the Red Angel is going to come from, but it was just Section 31 the whole time. Like, that's their project is the Daedalus Project, so they've been behind it, and they're like, what's really great? What really takes care of things? What gets stains out? Time travel. Let's do that.
Yeah, why didn't they, like, come clean about this, like, sooner? Like, everybody is, like, agonizing over the Red Angel.
Is running all over the universe. I know, right?
They're investigating things. People are dying.
Yeah.
Section 31's like, ooh.
So there's a lot of don't ixnay. There's a lot of questions. So, like, why would, and I don't know what else to call her because I don't think. Did anybody look up her name? I don't know her name yet, so I'm going to call her Kima. Why did she save the Church of People in World War III?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a great question. Like, are they saviors in some way? Are they gonna help save the universe?
Maybe. Are we gonna find out that? Well, no, it doesn't make any sense because they were displaced from Earth, so none of the crew is their descendants. Like, why would she know about them? Because if it was, and I'm not saying, if it was Michael, it's a predestination thing. She would know, oh, the Red Angel saved these people. So when Michael finally gets her Red Angel powers, she can go and save them, Bill and Ted style, to make sure that they have the keys to get out of the prison. Bootstrap situation. But, I don't know. I think it's weird.
What's that? I don't know if there's, like, a word for like when people talk about time travel and there's like points, like events that happen that can't be changed no matter what they are.
Right.
They call that Doctor Who.
You know what I mean?
I was gonna say.
Yes. Very
Sure.
Doctor Who, but like the thing with her coming to save Michael, even though it's like her brother strapping her to the chair, like, is that a point in time that just can't be changed? Like, it was just time for them to kind of catch her, even though she's part of Section 31. Like, is the Church of People something that just did that just have to happen?
I don't know.
And the answer is because time. Like,
because time. Yeah. Does she live in the future? Because I got the impression that the squiddy things or whatever are coming through in her wake, right? And so, does she live at this point in the future, in the Angel Cave or whatever, and then she's coming out to sort of do things? So that way, like, I don't know, she can look at the time screen or something and go, wait a minute, Michael doesn't die. She died on planet Zipzorp or something. I better go to Zipzorp. And she can fly in and save her. I don't know. It just... I don't think it makes a lot of sense. I think it's time. I think you're right. I think it's just sort of time.
Yeah, the answer is because time. Yeah.
What do you think? There's a line that slipped by, and I hope that it's not just a little thing, but there was an interesting piece where Leland was telling Burnham about why her parents work for Section 31, and she said that they were working on like this theory that that every race seems to have these sort of explosive developments or advancements in technology, and it could be tied to something. What did you guys make of that?
I just thought. No, you go.
Or did you guys get that?
Oh, no, go ahead.
I just thought that she was saying like, oh no, they would be able to explain that, because Leland was like, these happened because of like interference in the time stream, and she was like, no, because aliens didn't build the pyramids,
right.
Type answer. But I don't know.
Do you think the show is coming down on, and that's a good way to sort of summarize it, do you think it's coming down on aliens built the pyramids? Like, it's
I
already...
will be so mad.
I'm kind of mad that her parents work for Section 31. It's like making Peter Parker's parents spies. It's like, who cares? They're dead. He's got an aunt and uncle.
Right.
Well, he's got
right.
an aunt anyway. But they've already dealt with this in something like TNG, where you got the chase, right? Like, this race goes and seeds every world with DNA or whatever it is, and so we're all sort of related. And this sort of seems to suggest an ancient astronauts, like Ella says, spaceship pyramids, Stargate universe that I didn't know we were living in.
I mean, I'm happy it wasn't surprise though. Mm-hmm. Because everyone had all these theories, and it's like, okay, the Red Angel is going to be one of like these 5 people. Like, there is no other answer. Like, it's going to be Michael or Amanda or Mir Michael or Mir Amanda. And like, I'm happy that it was such a, like, I was like, the second I saw her face, I was like, oh my God, it's Michael's mom. But I was so surprised, and I'm really happy that I was surprised, because if it had actually been Michael, I would have been like so disappointed. Yeah. It's so hard to write for these things now, because that's all that we do. And I do think we need to kind of calm down as a fan base a little bit, but that's kind of why I thought it could just never be Michael, because it just sort of seems to make, the quote unquote most sense. Neelix was the longest bet, but the payoff, it would be worth it. Let's see. Anybody else have anything that we're not done. I just want to open it up to anything that's gnawing at you still about the episode.
I guess if I were Michael, I'd kind of want to know how her mom is alive still, and like what she's, much like Captain Marvel, like, what have you been up to? What have you just been doing Red Angel stuff like around the universe?
Hey, not every planet is a Red Angel.
Right. Like, I needed you, Mom. Where were you?
That hurt.
Yeah, and like, I thought you died. So did you fake your own death?
She takes one punch back from Leland and then gives it to her mom.
Exactly.
Yeah. That is a great question. I'm trying to think of something else. I'm sure there's something else in Trek that sort of mirrors that in some way. But yeah, that sort of thing of, I had to leave because I had to go help people. I had to. There's a bunch of people in a church in World War III. You don't understand. I'll be back in 20 years.
Right.
Yeah, but it must have been a tough choice. I'm sure.
Yeah.
And it certainly affected Michael in a lot of ways.
Yes. Definitely.
I mean, the real question is,
yeah.
Did Sarek and Amanda know?
Ooh.
Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. I guess we'll find out when they all go to Sizzler, in the last episode together. And wow, what an adventure we had. I got a kind of Total Recall vibe at the end when they were, they were exposing Michael to vacuum, and she's like, oh, she's going full Schwarzenegger. But that was cool. And why does the facility just? Yeah, that you can open these doors so you can, asphyxiate people. It's pretty cool.
I know.
It's pretty cool. Well, okay, all right. Let me give the episode a compliment. I thought the direction was great. This show always looks great. I think that we all have our own shows or episodes in terms of like things that we think really work and ones that don't. And I think the Picard show, not called that, but the Picard show is in good hands because this episode looked great and it had a real. This isn't like a damning with faint praise, or maybe it is, but it had a real like clean aesthetic to it. I thought that it was well shot. It was very clear. There wasn't anything crazy in terms of moves, but there were some nice moves to kind of keep the story going. There was some interesting framing, I thought, kind of cinematic framing you don't usually see on TV. So I'm excited to see what Hanel Culpepper does with the Picard show.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I still, yeah. I'm really looking forward to seeing where he is and what he's up to and, how he's changed over the years.
How much has he changed, do you think?
Maybe not a whole lot, but...
Picard is the Picard.
Yeah. That seems like a very Q-like answer.
You're in a position where, for all of these shows, even the ones set in the past, Sisko could show up. He's a prophet now.
Wow.
He could literally,
I would love that.
That would have been a good Red Angel bet. Except for the fact that...
Can you imagine?
Avery Brooks wants nothing to do with it, unfortunately. But yeah, that would have been a strong bet.
That would have been
his like
amazing.
Beautiful smile.
Michael Burnham, get up.
He's just like, hello.
Anything else? The show wants you to know, and I want you to know that people in the regular universe might be gay, but people in the mirror universe are
my God.
super everything gay. And we're just gonna.
That was the most uncomfortable scene.
Yes.
On television I've watched in so long. What was happening? Like the saving grace of that scene was Tilly at the end going, "What just happened?"
Yeah, and just being the audience surrogate, like, wait, what are we watching? Why is this happening? Yeah,
exactly.
It's a little strange, but I do like the fact that they took this time, to mix it up again. They just paired everybody off, so I think that we could have got some more fruit out of these pairings, but we got Saru and Leland get to stare each other down, and we get Giorgio and Stamets are sort of facing off or working together, and so I like it when we try new pairings and we try to get other people to interact with each other. But yeah, that was just I didn't know what was going on with that.
It was just I don't know if they knew what they were doing with that. It just seemed very clumsy.
I also liked how they're trying to figure out, okay, so this Red Angel is like super, has a sense of self-importance and is dramatic and all this. And Spock's like, yeah, that's Michael Burnham. Yeah, that's her.
Oh my God. Spock's like dry humor off the chart in this episode. I loved it.
Yeah. Yeah, that was funny. I also liked how, or I guess it was very sad that the extra indignity in Ariam's sort of funeral is that they have to like totally erase her brain because they're afraid that the malware, the Chinese malware, is in there still, and so
Right.
I mean, take a big magnet and just rub it over her head, I guess. But it kind of made me wonder why they couldn't, if you can. McAfee virus Section 31 ship, couldn't they do that to Ariam and then just like reboot her or like how?
Yeah, what I was thinking about that. I was like, don't you think you could just kind of like shock her and she'd like wake up and kind of just be empty? Like,
Yeah. Or like lose. She'd definitely have brain damage, but how much brain are we talking here? Because I'm assuming that there's some missing already. But I don't want to take away from the powerful tragedy of her death. I just want to know which recycle bin they have to put her in. Is it the green one or is it? Oh, come on! This is the kind of joke she was programmed to laugh at. Come on. It's time to laugh again. Anyway, so unless you guys have anything else to say, I think I've kind of said everything that I want to say. I know that I didn't love this episode, but I didn't ever really expect that the episode where they finally, end all this speculation would. It would have been a miracle if it had been really great. But at least we know now, and I'd like to see where we're going from here.
What do we think Leland was doing? Like, was it obvious, or was I missing something when he was like talking to the computer and then he got shivved in the eye?
I got no idea.
I have no clue.
I was not going to mention it because I didn't know.
Was the computer like upset with him or something? I don't know.
Like, shut up.
I'm going to Twitter as soon as we're done here, and if any listener wants to chime in, but I have no earthly clue what was going on with that. So I'm just assuming that there will be a Twitter thread speech in the next episode that'll explain what was going on there. Do you think he was dead or was he okay still?
He seemed okay. His eye rolled back into place.
Oh, okay. All right. Because sometimes in movies, and TV, like somebody gets hit in the eye, they're dead. But other times, it's like you can get stabbed in the eye and be okay. I don't want to try it, but or ask Nick Fury.
Oh gosh. I think he's okay too.
Okay.
Like he seemed to still be somewhat moving around.
Do you think his stock is going up then for him making it to the JoJo series? Because I had him
possibly
like pegged for dead, like he was, meat.
I mean, he could still, still be meat by the end of the season.
Yeah,
we have like 4 episodes left now after this.
Yeah,
dead, one-eyed man walking.
Michael kind of promised she would be more violent towards him. So.
My God, Soneqa's performance in that scene, her like the look on her face when she realized that, like, she's so amazing.
Yeah.
I kind of wonder why he divulged that to her. Like, why did he feel like he needed to share that information with her? He knows he's guilty of that. Was he just trying to relieve his guilt?
And is Giorgio now it's good guy Giorgio, it seems like we're turning her around. When we heard, so I can tell you what I thought. When we heard from Leland before, it seemed like he was okay. Then Giorgio frames it as you killed his parents, and it's like, uh-oh, maybe he is the bad guy. And now it seems like they're both people who are haunted by their choices and wish they could have done better. And it's like, okay, it's keeping me guessing.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's dead, though. He's going to die. No way that guy's making it out of this season. Well, speaking of the future, speaking of seasons, here's the segment where we look forward in the show. And I guess one big question has been answered, who the Red Angel is, unless it's a shapeshifter or hologram face or something like that. But other than that, what do you think is coming up? I guess we understand what the lights are at this point. I guess we know how Spock is involved. So will there be any more mysteries? And if you can't think of any, what's coming up in Season 3 of Discovery, do you think? No Enterprise.
I'm concerned that Ash and Michael are going to be a item. And I'm really not here for it. I don't want it.
Okay.
Yeah, didn't we in like the preview for this week? Didn't they kiss? And then we didn't see that.
Yep.
Okay.
No, I'm mad. I'm mad about it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, fair.
Yeah, I like that scene in the turbo lift where he's like, "Hey, I'm sorry about your friend." She's just like, "Yeah, don't do that. We're not doing that." Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems like more about where they are in their relationship than them getting back together.
Yeah.
I think that they're gonna have a new captain. I don't know. I mean, it would be awesome if it was Saru, yeah. But I don't know if they're gonna just keep bringing in, like you said, a new defense against the dark arts teacher.
That's the first thing you do. You check the back of the guy's head, right?
Right.
Okay, I know a little bit about Harry Potter, I guess. I have some theories myself about where we'll go in season 3, but I won't bore you guys with it right now. We'll definitely talk about it, I guess, on a future show. But yeah, I'm actually kind of glad to hear that we won't see Pike or the Enterprise for the reasons stated. Because I like, at this point, especially now that we've added like Burnham's mother in, I feel like there's enough mythology in Burnham's life, and of course, by extension, the life of Spock and Sarek and Amanda, that it's kind of become the well, I guess they don't have a last name, so the Sarek family show, and I'm okay with that. You can do 3 seasons out of that, I think, no problem. So
yeah, it seems like there's a lot of drama there that you could mine.
all this family drama, for
yes,
with no emotions, yeah.
Right.
Well, that is just about it for our show this week. Thanks for joining us, listeners. If you like what you hear, you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter at EISTPod for updates and to get notified when new episodes of both Enterprising Individuals and Discoverage are released. We've got a discussion group on Facebook called Enterprising Interlocutions as well. Go check that out. You can go to facebook.com/EISTPod and search for that. Also, while you're on the internet, why not head to your listening platform or podcatcher of choice and subscribe to the show. Give us a rating and a review if you think of it, because it really helps us out. And check out our merch. I believe until the end of this week, our merch is 30% off right now on TeePublic. You can go to teepublic.com/user/JustEnoughTrope, all one word. That's our parent network. You can get our snazzy Trekware and phone cases, mugs, anything you want. Our art on we've got. Discoverage is going to come back next week, March 28th, for the next episode of Season 2 of Star Trek Discovery. That episode is called Perpetual Infinity, which sounds pretty time travel-y to me. So we'll have to see what happens then. In the meantime, you can check out our main show, Enterprising Individuals, at enterprisingindividuals.com. Every Wednesday, I and a guest discuss in excruciating detail a selected episode from a Star Trek series. We also have news from the Trek Sphere, updates on Star Trek Discovery, and interviews with special guests. On this week's episode, dropped yesterday, I talk with New York Times bestselling author David R. George, and we talk about the TNG finale, All Good Things, and how it's really a distillation of every part of Trek, every good part of Trek, maybe some bad. It's like the perfect TNG episode. And it's maybe, arguably the best Trek finale of all time. But you can @ me on that one if you want. You can also find conversations like that, off-topic rants, DS9 and Voyager episode recaps, and more at our Patreon page at patreon.com/EISTpod. And our most recent episode of Enterprising Individuals with David George is available at enterprisingindividuals.com or on your podcatcher of choice. Mika, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Where can people find you online?
Yeah, justenough.trope.com or justenough.trope on Twitter and Facebook.
Will there be any talk about the 2008 to 2009 Fox series Terminator: The Sarah Connor Chronicles on your next episode? That's what I need to know.
Most definitely.
Okay.
It was a great series and thoroughly enjoyed it. But to hear more, you'll have to tune in.
Dozens of us. Dozens. And Ella, thanks as always. Where can people find Generations Geek?
At Generations Geek on Twitter and Instagram, and generationsgeek.com. And I just went to the Harry Potter Studios, so we're going to have media coming out about that on the Instagram and on the podcast as well.
Yeah. And your Instagram is generationsgeek.com as well?
Yes.
Yes, definitely check that out. They've got some great stuff on their Instagrams Awesome. That is it for us. Thanks for listening, everybody. And we are signing off. This is Aaron for Mika and Ella saying live long and prosper.